As the technology changes and your size grows, how do you structure your staff to handle that change? What areas within your staff, due to the growth, experience the greatest change or adjustment?
Boy, that's about a 5-hour question.
Because that's not just about technology.
It's about everything.
Yeah, that's
because as a church goes through certain sizes, and those, I'd say, I'd just give a resource that may be of real help on that. Tim Keller wrote kind of a summary document on church size and the transitions that happen, the way they communicate, how many people make decisions, how they're organized. It really is a different size organization is not a larger version of the same organization. It's a totally different organization. It'd be like, if Jeannie got pregnant with 27 kids, it wouldn't be like, well, we'll just keep doing what we're doing and make a few adjustments. Everything changes. The car, the house, the washing machine, the fridge, everything changes. It's a completely different family system and structure.
Same family, different structures and systems.
Completely, just for functionality. So, but Tim Keller did put this document together that we use a lot in Acts 29, and it's free on his Redeemer site, but it's just on church size. And if you're at this size, the changes that need to happen in the transition to this size, and he's condensed a lot of work, and he's Yoda smart, and so I would say that's a good free resource because and part of it depends on the size. You can't just say from smaller to bigger. Like, well, those. What are we talking about? Are we talking 200 to 2,000? Are we talking 100 to 400? Those are all very different metrics.
Yeah, and I think you have to keep in mind that every context has different values driving it too. So how we might communicate and then change technology and support and structures as we grow may be different than another one because of particular values that we have that drive how we say we should relate to one another. So I think some churches actually don't take the time to pay attention to what those values are. So then when they make the changes, they didn't make sure they held on to that DNA that they wanted to be consistent. So then people freak out because they're saying, see, I came to be a part of this church, and now you're not really about what I thought we were all about in the first place, and it lacks integrity. And it isn't always the case, but if you'll take the time to be able to communicate, these are our values, or these are the things that drive at the heart of why we do what we do. Like at Soma, one of them is the church is a family. It's one of the metaphors we see in Scripture. How would a family do this? But then how would a growing family do this? So, it's not going to feel like the family we used to have, but it's still going to be a family. It's just a bigger family or a more complex family, or there's new family dynamics here.
Good
so
point.
using some of that to communicate it and then say it's going to be different. I would say anybody's planning a church or bringing transition to a church, if you don't bring to the core of your church's DNA that change is always going to happen, you're always going to have a problem. But if you also don't bring, these are how we bring value into change or DNA into change, you're also going to have a problem. So those two have got to continue to be hand in hand.
That's, Mark, in talking to folks who have been a part of Mars Hill, you hear this issue of change is just, it's core to the DNA. And it's change is not a bad thing. Change is happening. To your point, it's life or death, and you better either embrace it or you're going away.
Yeah, and our line, I've used the line for years. There's two things that are constant: Jesus and change.
That's great.
He's the only thing that won't change. Everything else is up for grabs.
And people get that confused. They get the
The theology doesn't move. We're not talking about.
That's right.
We're not talking about theological change. We're not talking about. We're talking about structural change. I mean, like he said, it's the same family, same father, same kids, same family, but different structure for the family.